Hi everybody. Hey, I had something unique this morning when I was digging these weeds out of my flower garden here. I have a butterfly garden in this area, and I have this area that I want to clear for some milkweed and maybe some wildflowers. And this weed is kind of it's a nasty weed, and it has a real dense mat. You can see it's a real dense mat of weed. So I was cutting underneath it with my shovel and then overlapping it. But I noticed that the ground here was all moving, and this whole area was covered in some little thing that was hopping all around. And I thought, wow, it looks like little brown crickets. Well, what really are they? And I took a close look at one, and I figured out what it was right away. And I'm going to show that to you in the film that I made this morning by putting some white paper down and allowing those things to jump onto that white paper, and you'll get to see them. And then I'm going to tell you what they are in just a little bit. Okay, so I captured a few of those little brown hopper things down by the weeds down there in the yard where I was weeding, and I put them in a jar, and they're dead now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour them out here, and let's take a closer look at what these are. Okay, so as I poured it out, I noticed that I grabbed a couple of things that are not what I was looking for. The first one is right here. It's a little beetle. It's a ground beetle, very, very common ground beetle, and they're a good guy. They're eating some of the bad bugs in the area. And then this one right here, this is a millipede. And so there are millipedes in there also. It was shiny and it looked a little like that. And then here are some of the little creatures that I captured. And so I'm going to pull them out. I'm going to set them off to the side here, and let's get a closer look. Okay, so what you can see on the right is the pile of dirt that came along with my little captures. And what I used was a hand lens like this to go through that dirt very carefully. And I used a little tweezers to separate out the things from the dirt. I did a little bit of scraping and moving. And here are the three different things I found in the collection there, the things that I captured when I grabbed them real quick and put them in the jar. The first group here, these are millipedes. And millipedes are extremely common in the soil. There are all kinds of sizes, many different looks of the millipedes. These are kind of a real round-bodied, and we can stretch them out. They're real long, but these are curled up. And you'll find them curled pretty often. And they eat decaying plant matter, so they're always in the soil, especially where it's wet and where the plants are decaying right there. The other is a little ground beetle that I found. So there's a little ground beetle. Many, many species of ground beetle, and typically the ground beetles are good guys. And they're eating some of the bad bugs, soft-bodied bugs in the garden and so on. And this last group, these are the creatures that were hopping all over the place. Let's take a closer look. And here are the two millipedes that I captured. They're pretty small. You can see the body is really rounded, and they're curled into a curl like that. And the legs, there are a lot of legs. There's 4 pairs of legs per body segment on a millipede. Centipedes have 2 legs per body segment. We'll show you that someday. And here's the ground beetle. And here's the ground beetle from the top. Very common. So obviously these have taken a little bit of damage. So I'm going to move the one that is the most obvious, the smaller ones. I'm going to move these out of the way and bring the one that's the most obvious, give you an idea what it really is. If you look closely, you will see that it looks just like a shrimp. And basically that's what it is. This is called a lawn shrimp. Now, lawn shrimp are very, very common actually. They do feed on decaying plant matter in the soil, and they can hop. So if you look at the one end of the body there, you will see that there's some spring-like tail on the end there, and that's what they're using to hop around. And then the head is, let me focus on this just a little bit better. The head is at this end, And so you're looking at the head here and the tail on the other side, and the tail is the hopping part of the tail that they can move around in. If you think about a shrimp, the shrimp has that tail on the back that they use to shoot around through the water really fast. And more or less that's what this has. They don't use it to shoot through the water, obviously. They use it to hop around on the ground like a cricket or a grasshopper. So this is called a lawn shrimp. And so there were hundreds and hundreds of these lawn shrimp under that weed. And lawn shrimp are considered a terrestrial amphipod. And basically it's a shrimp, but it's a terrestrial, something that lives on the land, amphipod. And so in order for them to survive, they need a lot of moisture. That's why they were underneath that mat in the garden area there. And when I dug it up, the soil was really wet and real nice for them. They like that in there. If it gets real dry, they'll move. They'll go somewhere else. Many times they get away from their typical habitat and they'll all die on one spot, like on your porch or something like that. So these are called lawn shrimp. Very, very common. Okay, I hope you really enjoyed that about the amphipod, the lawn shrimp, and got to see them up close with the camera and so on. That was really kind of fun. And look, if you really like these kinds of little videos, then give them a like. Really appreciate that. And you can leave a comment if you'd like below the video. And if you really want me to cover something else, that'd be fine. I'll be glad to do that for you as well. And please subscribe to the channel. We're going to be putting on more and more of these, so please enjoy them. I thank you very much.